Hello everyone, I'm Bra Mithra. It's the end of the month. We've got our September update for 2024. It's a pretty good update. Lots of cool stuff in here. The last one was the post-Gen Con update. So that one was all like a Gen Con recap. This one goes more into the point of how the progress of things that we're still waiting on, which is currently the remastered Wave 1. So that's what you can expect from all of this update. As far as that goes, pretty good update. So as you can see here, we have September 2024. Artwork here. Summer is in the rear view. School is back in session, and the team is churning through a stack of KD expansions and Wanderers at full power. This month has been fairly quiet. This month has been a fairly quiet one here at Kingdom Death headquarters, with surprisingly little in the way of natural disasters, power outages, and other fun mishaps, which has been great news for our productivity. Here's a quick update on the status of our upcoming projects. So we have Pariah is in production. So, what that means is plastic production. So, following up on our progress from last month, we have wrapped our final copy editing and adjustments of the Pariah expansion and are currently in contact with our production partners to resolve any outstanding questions they have before we can receive initial samples of the content. So, again, they're still getting samples and stuff, so it doesn't mean it's in mass production yet. Maybe the plastic is getting mass produced and everything, but still have to do boxes, stuff like that. So paper is probably all done. So this is good. Sending expansion to production is always an exciting and nerve-wracking time, but our team has become much more adept at the process as our individual members gain experience and expertise. As we move further along the production process, I will have more concrete information to share regarding how long we can expect to wrap on everything slated for the revamped shipping Wave 1. But I want to take this opportunity to temper expectations. They want you to temper your expectations that were set back in February, and were also set 3 updates ago when they said they were on pace. So they want to temper the expectations that they themselves set. So this time of year is always logistically slugfest as companies duke it out for the prime and woefully limited production slots before Chinese New Year in January. I am stepping into the ring with my best boxing gloves and fire my belly to snatch up as many of these slots as possible for us. But these things are never a guarantee, and there's always the possibility that some of our content will not be scheduled until after the holiday recess. And after it's finished with paper, and after it's finalized, and after the playtesting is done. As we'll soon find out, only Pariah is scheduled for in production to get sampling and stuff. Wanderer hard plastic is finished. So this is great. Tooling complete. It doesn't say production complete, just means tooling complete. Hard plastic Wanderers. Gaining Cola, looks amazing. Death Drifter, sick. Aeneas, neat. It's more Aeneas. Goth Amy, very cool. Extra crisp. Continuing on the theme of production, we have finished all the plastic associated with the Wanderers of revamped shipping Wave 1. Hooray! See? Great. All the Wanderers are done. I think we saw them at Gen Con. I had them in the video. They're in the case and everything. Really cool. These look like... I couldn't tell really at Gen Con, but it looks like these are different. Yeah, the bases here look different. So these are definitely different than what was shown at Gen Con. Whoops. Most of the rules for these releases are in final layout or copy editing stages while we wait for the last of these illustrations to come in. The most far along of these Wanderers would be Goth Amy, who is already in the hands of our printers. Hooray! That's great. So, paper stuff being done for Goth Amy. As we did batch design and development for this round of Wanderers, I anticipate the rest of them following suit into the queue, one after another, as they finish getting cleared for production. Great. False Messengers, also in production. Similarly, False Messengers are also in production. The included content for these models has come a very long way since we originally made their beta scenarios available via our web store. While I still love some of the original ideas we presented within these scenarios, I am beyond excited. I don't know if he is some of the original ideas. I guess some of them weren't too very good. Not so fond of some parts of them. I'm beyond excited for everyone to experience their first peek into how pillars can drastically change the texture of a campaign with just a few cards. 4 disorders, I think, is all that Wanderers do with a settlement event. I think is what it was slated for, a settlement event with four disorders. We already have pillars in Gambler's Chest, so like scouts are just a few cards. So, but a big system, I guess. More than a few, I guess. Outskirts plus like 15 gear or so, and some discoveries. These are going into tooling short the Screaming God armor sets. So these are just going into tooling. The Parasite Queen, the original size in the middle, the final size on the left and right. Very neat. This thing is huge. This looks like it's going to be a 4x4. If the original was a 2x2, it looks double the size. So it's a 4x4. I don't know. The model looks great. Looks super cool. I kind of like the smaller one. The other one's just big and blown up now. Kind of like Atlas. I'm not a huge fan of Atlas. Atlas is like super big. I don't know what the lore of this is. Hopefully Atlas lore, I don't know. I guess he can make himself super big. It doesn't really, maybe he's just always super big. Who knows? Hopefully the lore with this lines up. The artwork doesn't really look like it lines up, but whatever. Maybe it doesn't matter. Couldn't decide, so we have included both head expansion. So there's 2 heads. Failed. Tooling and production should be completed by November. Awesome. With design work wrapped on the Screaming God portion of the expansion, we've been able to shift our full focus to ensuring that the Parasite Queen is a climactic finale. Was always meant to be. To that end, I'm happy to announce that we are finally finished engineering the monster, and she's absolutely bonkers. The beautiful intricacy of this, intricacy of this monster is something to behold, and we are definitely going to be making a custom build tutorial for it to make the assembly as approachable as possible, because it sure is a puzzle with all these arms. Oh, and I wouldn't normally show off something like this until the expansion is released to the public, but this piece by when is just otherworldly. Going to have to wait until the expansion is in your hands to see the full artwork, though. So yeah, this is, maybe there's like some perspective, but you can see in this art, the survivor is being engulfed by the hands here. It's like the same thing that's, pretty sure this is like the hand monster that's in the back of the comic. I'm pretty sure this is the hand monster that's in the back of the rulebook in the Aya comic. But, yeah, you can see here, like the survivor is kind of, she's much bigger, but who knows? The hands, they don't look like the hands here grabbing on the wrists and stuff. The hands in the model look absolutely huge compared to normal survivors. Because remember, normal survivors can be a 1x1. These hands look absolutely huge. So this thing is just going to tower over them. She is just absolutely huge. Doesn't look like it fits in at all with the scale. Kind of feels like Titans, like gods and monsters kind of like thing. She seems huge, like in comparison. So kind of takes me out of the lore, but whatever. Red Witch is wrapping on story events. Anna is now working through an editorial pass of the many, many stories events I've laid out. Last I checked, Red Witches has the most story events of any expansion we have released, barring the Gambler's Chests. Yeah, that's a lot. That could be any wild number of events. The Gambler's Chest has tons of story events, and regular expansions barely had any. So I think like 8 story events would be the most ever. So who knows? I would have to go back and look. I think Lion Knight had like 6 story events or something, but She has always been an excellent judge of how far behind the curtains we should allow players to peek, and her expertise is invaluable in our deepest lore exploration of the White Speaker cult yet. I'm really pleased with the 3 story events that lead to a secret fighting art, one for each witch. It is the kind of thing story event that took many, many years of stewing over and only one day to actually write. Meanwhile, balance testing for the expansions is nearing its balance testing for the expansion is nearing its conclusion as the playtest team makes their final numbers tweaks / adjustments. Showdown overall expansion mechanics have otherwise been locked in for a while now. So you've got Pariah done, right? That's in production. Red Witches locked in all the mechanics. Wanderers just waiting on artwork. Screaming God seems to be done, that portion of it. So Parasite Queen is the farthest one behind, right? It was said that Parasite Queen, because it's just a finale, it might be comparable to how much more Red Witches needs. I don't know exactly what that means, but maybe it'll be sooner rather than later. I don't know if Q1 seems possible for all this stuff. Maybe it will split off. Hoping it would get split. Why not just send Pariah and False Messengers and Wanderers out? If Red Witches and Parasite Queen end up taking longer, but who knows? Community Garden. Does Campaigns of Death include new weapon specializations? Do you intend to add SAW and/or fan weapon specializations? Oh, great question. Not really ready to reveal what we have in store for weapons in COD just yet, though. Well, we saw fan already in there, and SAW, so hopefully they'll be in there. Just tell me you're going to do similar People of the Stars prints. So this is interesting. I really loved how the heliocentrism prints turned out. Those are the prints that were sold at Gen Con that were the Sunstalker and Storm, fighting, and then also the other, very Japanese-inspired prints. I had no idea those were heliocentrism. I thought maybe they were just, COD stuff or just unique prints just to make prints to sell at Gen Con, but it's neat that they're heliocentrism. So I'd like to have Starbound prints as well, but we'll see what makes sense logistically. Could we get a campaign sheet generator? Click on what you own, add a generated settlement sheet and story events, blah, 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 blah. This is a great idea. We've definitely explored similar tools internally, both for testing purposes and for KDS integration. Can't promise anything immediately. We'll continue to look into this. We just need a generic arc sheet. It would be great to get that in COD. A generic arc sheet. Because right now, the only Arc Survivor settlement sheet we have is the People of the Dreamkeeper one that has all the People of the Dreamkeeper stuff already all listed on it. So we need an Arc settlement sheet that's blank. A blank timeline would be great. Recently, we started a new People of the Dreamkeeper campaign, and it occurred to me that the timeline story events are quite front-loaded. But it makes sense. Session's a bit inconsistent. We spent seemingly hours in settlement phases pretty quick. Campaigns that introduce a large amount of changes to a settlement or survivor's rules will always have a more front-loaded starting experience compared to the ones that do not. None of the campaigns slated for Campaigns of Death introduced the same magnitude of sweeping rules changes, like the whole Arc Survivor package that People of the Dreamkeeper does. The dev team also collect data on how crowded each Lantern year is story event-wise. So we have been doing our best not to overload already busy Lantern years while creating more interesting events for Lantern years that are currently lacking them. That's cool. I have to see how that comes out. Wanderers will do that. Philosophies also do that. So, could you guys get blah blah blah? Music, blah, blah, blah. There's a dark gramophone available in the KDS dwelling. So there's music you can listen to if you buy the KDS sim. How did KDM go from a board game like Monopoly? I covered this in a Gen Con interview. We talked all about this. How it started off as a dungeon crawler. Went to do all those things, went to do miniatures, so there's that. But there's also this. And when painting Nightmare Adam, and I noticed your abs. This is an exact replica of your abs of steel. If so, what is your workout routine? Nightmare training, of course. Obviously. Nightmare Adam is jacked. So that's it. I don't know. To me, Q1 seemed this is the remastered Wave 1. Originally, remastered Wave 1 was supposed to be. So this is what I was talking about earlier. The February thing was supposed to be like Q4 was supposed to be when we were supposed to be getting all this. That ain't happening. Then it was pushed to Q1 like 3 months ago or something. Like it was. But originally, Campaigns of Death was supposed to be Q1 2025. No mention of Campaigns of Death here. I'm sure maybe Black Friday will be another Campaigns of Death grand overview, maybe. Who knows? But excited for the Black Friday one. Either way, this doesn't instill super amounts of confidence into me that we're going to be getting this Q1 of 2025. Maybe. Unless it breaks off. But I think we will have it before Gen Con, now that I know Pariah is in production and most of the Wanderers are in production. Just based on how long Gambler's Chest took. I know Gambler's Chest is a lot longer. I'm talking about how long it went from we're playtesting God Hand to we're finalizing rulebook layouts to all this stuff. Now, I know Gambler's Chest had all kinds of stuff to finalize because of all the new rules and systems and pillars and all that stuff, but I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we get this stuff Q1. That would mean we're still on schedule. I would think you'd mention it if you thought we'd still be on schedule rather than saying I want to temper expectations. So there we go. Tempered expectations. I wouldn't expect this before April or May, any of this stuff. That's being generous. April and May is being generous. So hopefully we get that. All right. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you in the next video.